didn't think I was gonna see her vagina today. Well, what the else did you think we were doing? I have been trying to blow for 25 years. Story of law, order, and a sports utility vehicle. I don't know who the fuck this bitch is. I don't know where she came from. How's that for a story you're not gonna get on any other show? Hey everybody, it's me, Kathy Griffin, and welcome to another episode of Kathy Griffin, Talk Your Head Off. The doggies are here, everyone's on their place. Now, first I want to start with an announcement. Get this, I'm going back on tour. That's right, your girl who was blacklisted for 7 freaking years because of a photo you can Google by just putting in Kathy Griffin, Donald Trump. And I got to do a 75 city tour, and I called it the Kathy Griffin, My Life on the PTSD List tour. But this show is all new material. So if you came to see me in Vegas last time, 2 years ago, I'm gonna be at Planet Hollywood, kicking off the tour in Vegas on November 8th. New face, new tour. I hope you like the title, because it's true. I can't wait to get into whatever we get into. And when I'm on tour, every show is different. Like, sometimes I'll start with local material about whatever town I'm in. And by the way, Vegas is a gold mine of material. Then my next show is in Anaheim, California, at a place called The Grove, which I've never played. So I'll be playing some new places, some places I've played before. And you don't know what I'm gonna do on stage. And trust me, neither do I. One time, I had to run to my car after I did a show in Florida because I thought it would be kind of funny to read the sex offender list and everyone's address. No? Okay, fine. Well, that's why I had to run to my car. My then tour manager just looks at me and he goes, run to the car. We have to get out of here. All right, so anyway, I will be doing comedy. I will read a list from time to time, but check out kathygriffin.com and stay tuned and follow me on all the other stuff. And please come see me live because stand-up is my favorite thing. So I can't wait to tell you what I did last weekend. This was such a blast. I had a Team Griffin assistant reunion. For those of you that don't know, I had a show on 20 years ago called Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List. And it was 6 seasons. It was nominated for an Emmy every single season, and it won twice. I won twice, I can't believe it. I also did many stand-up specials. Now, you can watch Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List on Peacock right now. I mean, wait till the end of this show, obviously, but you can watch it tonight, binge it. It's only like 8 episodes a season, and I'm just gonna say it was a different time. And so to get together with my assistants from then, first of all, I started out with Jessica, who didn't make the Vegas trip, but I love Jessica. She's living in Arizona now. She was on the show at the beginning. Then Jessica got so busy, she needed an assistant, so we had to hire the assistant's assistant named Tiffany. Tiffany! Remember, I would just scream through the house, Tiffany! And I had an intercom. That's how dated this show is. I had an actual intercom. I don't mean dated. I mean, usually you just text somebody in the house, but in those days there was a button on the wall and I would just go, Tiffany! And God love her, she laughed every time. So Tiffany now lives upstate in NorCal, and she has 2 beautiful daughters. She's happily married, and she did tell me from the beginning, I love this job, but I want to be a mom, and she is. And then my assistant, John, and John was my assistant when I had my 2-year talk show called Kathy, which you can also watch tonight if you feel like it. John used to work for freaking Judge Judy. Then when I got my talk show, he said, I'd rather work for Kathy Griffin, which, Judy, I know you never miss Kathy Griffin, Talk Your Head Off. There they go, there they go. They just get used to that, you guys. That was Nick, the producer, who literally moved. He had the nerve to move. And he certainly won't be doing that again. John actually left a higher paying job at Judge Judy to come work for me. And so we went to Vegas to see the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. Backstreet's back, all right. I mean, all right is true. I loved every minute of it. Go to their residency, go to the Sphere, period. I'm a Spherophile already. They got me, I admit it. They took my money, take more. And then the next night we went to see Kelly freaking Clarkson. I know, very gay weekend, very amazing weekend. And we had so many laughs that I actually have a cheat sheet about things that we used to do in the 90s and the 2000s, which are called the aughts, which are things that you can't do anymore for very good reason. In fact, I'm ashamed that I even just giggled. First of all, I also want you to know that currently I am editing my special of the last tour. So the special will be called Kathy Griffin, My Life on the PTSD List, and it's gonna be on YouTube. I'd like to release it on my birthday, November 4th, but it's probably smarter for me to release it in October. So keep looking, it'll be on YouTube. It's long because this one had quite a story to tell, but stick with it and I think you'll like it. I hope you do, I hope. Backstreet Boys are fantastic. I'm just gonna say it, don't be a hater. They can really sing, you guys. Now, on the playing instruments, not so much, I'm not gonna lie, but they are so talented, and I have known those guys for decades. Like, I went backstage and they made the whole audience wear white or light blue. And then I found out it was that one of them just had the idea to do that. So I went in this white jumpsuit I have by Valentino that honestly looks like Princess Leia from Star Wars. So I should have done the two like twisty pigtails here and just made the full commitment, because I know Nick in particular is a Star Wars fanatic. And I know that because I saw it on his reality show he had with his wife. So now they're all married with wives and kids, or they're divorced, but they're like best friends with the wives or some bullshit. Look, let me just cut to the chase. There's another guy in the band named AJ, and he's my friend, my platonic friend, but I've been trying to blow him for 25 years. Let me repeat that. I have been trying to blow AJ McLean for 25 years. Now, here's the kicker. My blowjobs are not great. Like, they're not my strong suit. I'm better at f***ing. That's where I shine. But I give it a good try. You know what it is? I have a gag reflex. So I think if I had nitrous, like Kanye in that Super Bowl ad, although I am sober, so I wouldn't do that, but I probably could give a mean blowjob with nitrous, which probably is not gonna happen. Anyway, obviously this is a joke. AJ, you know I gotta give you shit about this, because back in the day, when Tiffany was my assistant, we went to see the Backstreet Boys. I mean, I've seen them in concert like 15 times over the years. I go, Tiffany, tonight is the night that I go to AJ's trailer and I blow him. I just get it done. I've never been a groupie, even once. I'm a performer myself. It never happens to female comics. No guy's gonna come backstage and go down on me. Can you imagine? And then she goes, well, what am I supposed to do? And I go, you gotta wait outside the tour bus. And she goes, well, how am I gonna know when you're done? I go, it's gonna stop rocking. And she goes, you're gonna make an entire bus rock even during a blowjob? And I was like, oh God, I didn't think of that part. Maybe I'll be blowing him and then I'll hold on to like the mini fridge and just start rocking it. Look, I've got to use my imagination. I'm already worried about my gag reflex. And then she goes, well, what if Nick finds out and he gets jealous? And I said, that's probably gonna happen, because in my mind, all the Backstreet Boys are hopelessly in love with me. They just don't know how to express it. We have been laughing about that story forever. So AJ, please take that story with the intention with which it was meant. But I will say this, and I can prove it to you right now. AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys has seen my and he has seen me spread my. Now, I know this episode's a little unexpected, but do you guys remember the ice bucket challenge? So everybody was doing this thing called the Ice Bucket Challenge, and it was for an important charity called a disease called ALS, which is a very serious disease. And celebrities were having people put a bucket of ice over their head saying, I'll do anything to help raise money for this charity. So, you know me, I like to ratchet things up and go way too far, and then am surprised when I get in trouble. So I decided to invite AJ to my house and my good friend Aubrey Plaza, who I absolutely adore. And I said, okay, I'm gonna be in my pool naked in high heels. I'm gonna come walk out of my pool buck naked. And AJ and Aubrey, you're gonna put the bucket of ice on my head, and then I'm gonna make the audience laugh by then turning around by shooting the beeve, which means spreading your legs as wide as you can. And then you guys will be out of frame by then and be shocked, I'm sure, somewhere. So here's that video right now.
I don't really know why you wanted me to be naked for this, but anything for the cause, and I'm gonna keep my shoes on. I'm sorry, but I'm a classy lady, so I insist on keeping my shoes on. Ugh. I'm naked. I also invited two friends who also challenged me from the Backstreet Boys, AJ McLean.
Hello, beautiful.
Hi. From Parks and Recreation, Aubrey Plaza.
Hey, what's up?
All right, so you douchebags also nominated me, so go ahead and do it.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
What are you doing that for? I did it.
You're welcome, America. And they pixelated it, not that they needed to. It's a real beaut. Okay, more about the weekend. So go to the Sphere. And by the way, let me just give a shout out to Howie as well, because Howie Jarreau was so sweet. And I went up to him and I said, how many years have you and I been doing this? And he just started laughing. And I go, how many years have you guys been playing either the Forum, which is a giant venue, or here you are at the Sphere? When I was hosting the Billboard Music Awards and you were performing, and I went and I laid on your laps and was just giving you guys crap. How many times have you had to see Kathy Griffin prior to a show and say hello and give me a hug? And he was so sweet. He's like, Mama, I love you. And I said, have a great show. I don't want to keep you. And he's like, no, let's keep talking. And I just want you to know that meant so much to me. Brian Littrell is a Trumper. So I am, how shall I say, not. I'm as not a Trumper as it gets. But I also know many Trumpers, he's one of them. And believe it or not, I have many friends that voted for Donald Trump. Okay, not many, but I have some friends who didn't vote at all or voted for Trump. And in my opinion, a no vote was still a vote for Trump. Brian goes on Fox News, and God love him, he's complaining that his gated community in Florida isn't letting in the right people. Okay, I did that wink on my own. That was my own editorial wink. But I'm just like, Brian, what are you doing? You are a Backstreet Boy. You are one of the lead vocals on the Backstreet Boys. And, you know, he still comes out and gives 1,000% in the show. But I just think it's kind of funny because his cousin, Kevin Richardson, is also in the band, and Kevin has openly spoken about how it's kind of awkward having his cousin, who I think he got into the band, who's now a Trumper. And I relate to that, and I want to ask you guys that. So first of all, I'm loving the comments. So like and subscribe, but leave me comments. And Trumpers, don't come for me. I already know how you feel about me. You know, I know how you feel. What I want to hear from you guys is, do you have Trumpers in your office, in your family, in your extended family? And if so, how do you deal with them? Do you deal with them? Does it even come up? Did I think it would come up talking about my Vegas weekend with my former assistants? No. Another moment that happened backstage at Backstreet Boys was, we were in our little group, and I didn't want to bother them, so I'd already said hi to them. I'd already tried to blow AJ We'd already taken pictures, and Brian was in my version of it. He was hiding from me because he thought I would confront him about Trump. I'm sure he didn't even know I was there. But anyway, Nick did not come out, and I know Nick Carter pretty well. In fact, here's just a couple pictures of Nick Carter and me. Come on, we go back. I usually like to make him spoon me because in my mind, that's the kind of couple we are. Tiffany is talking to me, and the Backstreet Boys dressing room is right behind me. What a weird coincidence. I was standing outside their dressing room again at 64 years of age. So then she goes, oh my God, look who's behind you. And I really thought and assumed she meant Nick Carter because I thought, oh, Nick hasn't come out at all. We've been backstage like 45 minutes. It's probably mandated that they have to do like a meet and greet and stuff. And so I hadn't had a chance to see Nick yet. So I turn around, but the lights are such that the lights are on me and I only see silhouette and I see two people. So I'm like, oh, it's Nick and his wife, Lauren. And so as they get closer, I'm going like this, oh my God, where have you been? It was Wayne Newton. Just take that in. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you think you are. You know that shit is funny. In fact, Nick, I hope you see this because I've just given you a look at your future. And by the way, it's pretty bright, if you know what I'm saying. He's probably like the longest running act in Vegas. But if you could have seen me try to make the transition from going to throwing my full body up on poor Wayne Newton, killing him in the process, because I was gonna throw myself into Nick's arms, which I've also done as a bit. And he's a, little younger than Wayne. And so it was so funny when I turn around and Wayne Newton is looking at me like, I don't know who the fuck this bitch is. I don't know where she came from. His wife recognized me, thank God. She was so sweet. And I just looked at Wayne and I just went, Wayne, legend, that's you. And he was like, how have you been? Like acting like he remembers me or whatever. Because by the way, of course I have met him over the years. Like, you can't be in show business and not somehow have met Wayne Newton. And so I'm like, I'm not a legend like you. And I'm thinking, thank God I did not jump full bore into his arms and then accidentally cause a concussion for national treasure Wayne Newton. So Nick, that one's on you. Okay, this is another thing. I asked Tiffany and John to tell Jonathan, the current assistant, any stories that, I don't want to say traumatized them, but stuck with them in a uniquely Kathy Griffin way. And then Tiffany, without missing a beat, goes, seeing Liza Minnelli's vagina. And I was like, what's wrong with that? What's the bad part? I don't get it. That's called a good day at the office. And so if you did watch Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List, you can go back and see the great, and she's still with us, thank God, the one and only true legend, not that Wayne isn't, but there's only one Liza. And so she was kind enough to do an episode with me, and she was giving me acting lessons because I was going to do a guest spot. I did a guest spot on Law and Order SUV, and I still call it that because my mother called it Law and Order SUV, story of law, order, and a sports utility vehicle. Anyway, and my mom was a little tipsy maybe when she said that. We got to film with Liza, and Liza would only film at her house. So fine, the whole crew's like scrapping whatever plans we had, and we're going to Liza's. But she wanted to hang out alone first, which is a dream for a gay man like me. So I said, okay, Liza, New York, it's your town. I will take you to any restaurant you want. Where do you want to go? It's on me. Get dressed up, don't get dressed up, wear the sequins, don't wear the sequins, whatever you want. And she goes, oh, honey, I love the Olive Garden. do you think you could stop by the Olive Garden and bring me those breadsticks, extra breadsticks, honey? And I know that's not a Mario Cantone level, Liza, I apologize. But Tiffany and I went to the Olive Garden, the one that's still in Times Square, and we got Liza Minnelli her Olive Garden food, and we got bags of food. Bags. Not that Liza's big in any way, but we just didn't want to screw it up for freaking Liza Minnelli. And I did get there and go, I just want to be clear. Out of every restaurant in New York, Le Cirque, Jean-Georges, I just want to make sure I got this correct. You want breadsticks, extra breadsticks from the Olive Garden, and you want it to be from the one from Times Square. Oh, honey, did you get them? Did you get them? And so we sat there and we ate Olive Garden food, and I wouldn't take it back for a minute. Then I said, would you be willing to show me around the apartment? And the apartment had like Basquiat's and Warhols, and get this. So I said, Liza, I'm a money person. I'm kind of obsessed with money. I'm good with money. My joke is I only do two things. I'm funny and I'm good with money. How did you keep the financial party going? Because this is a beautiful apartment and it's a rough business. And I just want to know your secret. Halston? I go, anyway, Liza, I guess you didn't hear me. How have you kept the money train going? And she goes, Halston. Okay, so get this. She said she wasn't good with money. So Halston said, all right, give me a certain amount of money. I'm really good at knowing what artists are going to break out. And so Liza Minnelli had a collection of, like I said, Warhols and Basquiat's, and I should know probably Keith Haring's and David Hockney's. Sorry, I should know these names. But she then just sells one off whenever she needs money, all because of freaking Halston. How's that for a story you're not gonna get on any other show? So it was time for us to film, and we went in her bedroom, and I said, what do you wanna wear? And she had given it no thought. So she was in some sort of, let's go with loungewear. Her assistant was there, and we were all getting along, so it's just Liza's assistant, Tiffany, my assistant, and me in Liza's bedroom. So Liza flies open the closet, not a metaphor, flies open the closet, and then just drops her pants and is not wearing underwear. And why should she? She's Liza. And she's got a belly full of delicious breadsticks. And so Tiffany just turns around and goes, oh, and I go, be cool. It's just Liza's vagina. And she's like, I didn't think I was gonna see her vagina today. And I go, well, what the else did you think we were doing? It's Liza's. You never know what's gonna happen. This is the greatest moment of my life. I'm trying not to stare. The house on My Life on the D List, if you recall, you could tell from the exterior shots, and I was such a dum-dum, you guys. I actually lived at that house all during that show, like an idiot. I didn't learn from the Kardashians or anything. Like, they rented a house, I think. I really lived there, so people were ringing the doorbell all the time. It became like a nightmare. But the funny part is, it has the steepest driveway I have ever seen known to man to this day. And so if anyone ever tried to rob me, they couldn't even get up the freaking driveway, much less get back down. I was calling AAA like 3 times a week. And then John goes, did you have to bring up the Sparklets bottles? And it's so funny because I'm just laughing at the term Sparklets bottles. Nick, do you know what that means?
Yeah, like a water delivery, right?
Okay, good. So people don't do Sparklets bottles, to my knowledge, anymore. I think more people probably either do like Britas or filtration systems. But
My mom's still there.
yes, Sparklets, you're still around. But those bottles are really big. And John, who would very much identify as a twink in a very positive way, even though he will not be put in a box. He told me that. He said, the gays don't want to be put in a box. And I said, fine, box is gone. He would have to carry the Sparklets bottles up that driveway, and it was like spelunking. So Jonathan has not had to do that one yet. And every house has issues, that's all I'm saying. Now, another thing we did that was very inappropriate and wrong, and I'm apologizing, is we actually thought it was funny to be constantly playing with our own ethnicities. So I'm 100% Irish, fallen Catholic, but that's kind of boring, right? Irish on both sides, mom and dad, big shock. So sometimes I would say I was Scottish, and I'd be like, well, can I do a Scottish brogue? Let me think. Gregory's Scandal. There was a film called Gregory's Scandal, and I liked the lead character, Gregory, which is a little different than the Irish, which would be like, Gregory's Scandal. There's a character called Gregory. I'm not the best. So sometimes I would be English, like Brittany. Tiffany is like, we all are ultimately, most of us, multi-ethnic. And the thing that was funny is if I would have a gig and there was a group of people that were one ethnicity on the set, Tiffany would then introduce herself as that ethnicity. And so for a while, Tiffany was Samoan. For a while, she was Hawaiian. For a while, she was African American. And by the way, many versions of all of those. And I apologize for all those jokes. And I apologize for also implying she's the one that made those jokes, because you know it was me and my inappropriate ass. I would say John is bilingual, and then I would nudge him and say, start speaking your fluent Spanish. And he would just go, I'm Brazilian, I speak Portuguese. And I would just go, tomato, tomato. What's great is that John is now a big time publicist at Netflix, and his area of expertise is South America. So now everybody thinks he can speak Spanish, which he does not. He speaks fluent Portuguese, well, in English. But anyway, John's like, remember that time I was Croatian or whatever? And I was like, oh, that was quite a week. At one point, I was touring so much that Tiffany needed a tour managing assistant, because I tend to make my assistants my tour manager, because then you don't have too many cooks in the kitchen and it works out better. And don't worry, I pay him a little extra, but still, it's a good marriage, right, Jonathan?
The best.
The best, he says, under no pressure at all. Tiffany was my tour manager for a while, and she was very good, but I was touring so much. Like, I remember one time I did something like 21 cities in 23 days, which for a comic is a lot, and some of them were doubles. So as you can tell, I have vocal problems, which are better now. They're getting better. Assistant tour manager named Nasty. And I say Nasty because I just named him Nasty. That is not his government name or his birth name. His name is actually Derek. And Nasty, I miss you if you're watching this. I want you to hear about this. I love you. You haven't called me. I miss you. You should have been at the Backstreet's Back Gurrl. You're just always gonna be nasty to me. I can't help it. But I'm friends with his parents. Nasty is nasty, and we just had so much fun on the road. The trouble we would get into, like one time they all got kicked out of a nightclub at the Borgata in Atlantic City, because I didn't want to go to a nightclub. What the hell am I going to do at my age at a freaking nightclub? So I would walk them down there if I was the headliner, and I would get them that bottle service thing. Because I was the headliner, they would give me a free table, which means my assistants would get free booze. And I wasn't really thinking ahead, probably because I had done a double or a special or something, and I was back in my room, raiding the mini bar or something, having actual candy. And so I get a call one time from the nightclub at the Borgata, and they're like, is this Miss Griffith? And I'm like, yep, it's me, Kathy Griffith. And they're like, apparently your staffers are down here, and there's one who's passed out, one who's vomiting, and one who's crying and laughing at the same time. I'm like, send them up. And so don't think I forgot about that, Nasty. I love you. And then I tried to fire them that night, but my agent at the time said, no, she doesn't mean it. And so he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you guys to stand in the back of the theater and just do your job and make sure she's okay. She's not really mad. you guys maybe partied this one time, because otherwise they were amazing. And I was so lucky to have such good assistants. And I love them so much. And I'll never forget, and I'm like gonna try not to cry, thinking about me being on stage at the Borgata for probably 3,000 people, which is really big for me. And my 3 employees sobering up and standing, leaning against the back wall of the venue, watching me, making sure I was okay. So anyway, that's our show for this week. Come see me when I go back on tour. Have fun. Don't be so drunk that you're laughing and crying. But I love you guys. Like and subscribe. Please pay for my Patreon and my Substack and watch my other socials. You know where to find me. I love you guys, and I'll see you next episode. Mwah.